Hi, thank you for joining me again. This is the last and final excerpt from my novel Not in America, which is available for pre-order on Amazon right now. All you have to do is click the link below and it'll redirect you to the page. In this excerpt, Sam, our main character, finds himself in the Depression, in Manhattan, penniless and without a job. His only way of surviving is joining the Jewish underworld. I won't give away too much, but I will say that there are a lot of interesting historical tidbits in this part of the book. But without further ado, here's the excerpt.
After they finished dinner and Sam paid the check, they walked for 6 city blocks to a small opening between buildings. Hannah led Sam through an alleyway into a door that blended into the building and had no handle. She knocked. They waited. Finally, someone came. "Who is it?" the voice said. "Hi, Lenny, it's me, Hannah." He opened the door. "Get in here, you hot tomato," he smiled, pulling her arm gently. She giggled and pulled Samuel inside. "Who's the lucky fella?" "Schatzman, Samuel Schatzman. His folks own the bakery on Delancey." "Oh, yeah, I heard that they closed. It's a real shame. But nobody could compete with Fanny's around the corner. Sorry to say it, but she's got the best bakery in town, and she's been there forever." "Yeah, Fanny's bakery is still doing well, even in this terrible economy," Sam said. "Hey, Lenny, you know lots of people, right?" Hannah said. "Sure, doll, lots. Why?" "You know a fella by the name of Morty Lavsky?" Lenny grew quiet. "Maybe. Who wants to know?" A heavy-set black man took the stage and began playing a trumpet. "I do," Sam said. "I want to meet him." Lenny let out a laugh. "You think it's just like that? You ask, you meet, new? Are you a Meshuggah? Lavsky doesn't make nice like that." "I'll bet he might want to meet me. What do you think?" Hannah said, pushing her chest out. Lenny looked her over slowly from the top of her head to her feet, his eyes gliding slowly over her ample bosom. "Now there's a good chance that you're right. He just might want to meet you." He said, his eyes twinkling with mischief. "Now what man wouldn't want to meet a Zaftik girl like you, Hannah?" "Yeah? And I'll wager that you like Zaftik girls too, don't you, Len?" "You know it, doll," he said, winking at her. "There just might be something in it for you if you arrange a meeting for my friend Sam with Lavsky," Hannah said, touching the lapel on Lenny's jacket. "For you, doll, I'll do my best," Lenny said. She let out a laugh. "Big titties get 'em every time," she said to no one in particular. Then she turned to Sam and giggled. "You're blushing, aren't you?" He nodded his head in embarrassment. Hannah waved her hand and continued. "Well, don't you worry. I'm fairly certain that Lenny will find a way for us to have a meeting with Morty Lavsky." Lenny walked over to Hannah and said, "Why don't you two take a seat, have a drink, and enjoy the music, and let me see what I can do." Hannah nodded. Then she hooked her arm in Sam's and led him to a table in the back away from the stage. She ordered 2 whiskeys. When the drinks were set down in front of Sam, he took a big gulp and immediately spit it out on the table. Hannah laughed. "Too strong, Bubala?" she said, reaching over and patting his hand. "Tastes like turpentine." "You ever drank turpentine?" "Nope. But I would imagine that this is what it would taste like." Samuel wiped his mouth with the back of his hand. "It's panther piss," she said. He looked at her, not understanding. "You know, bathtub booze," she whispered. Then a pretty girl in a sparkling silver dress got on stage and began to croon a love song. Hannah forgot her conversation with Sam and began to sing along softly. The girl sang 3 more songs before Lenny returned, accompanied by another young man wearing a well-made suit. "This beauty over here is Hannah Rubinstein," Lenny said. Then he turned to Hannah and said, "This not-so-handsome fellow over here is my friend Isidore, but we call him Izzy. He patted Izzy's back. Chana and I have met before, Izzy said. Then he added, It's good to see you again. Chana smiled at Izzy and nodded. Then she took a sip of her drink. Izzy knows Levski real well. He can introduce you. When? Chana asked. How about now? Izzy said, winking at Chana. Follow me. Thanks, Lenny. I owe you, she said. Then she and Samuel followed Izzy toward the back of the bar. I still expect payment, Chana, Lenny called out loudly as they passed him. Don't I know it, Chana said. Then she turned to whisper in Sam's ear. Big tits work on these kind of fellas every time. They get mesmerized so they can't see straight. Then they give me whatever I want. Sam looked at Chana with shock in his eyes. Sam had never heard a woman speak this way. He was flabbergasted. He said nothing because he didn't know how to answer. There was a short, narrow hallway behind the bar that led to an office. It was small but furnished comfortably with a nice sofa, a cherry wood desk, and 3 chairs. There was a wool rug on the floor. On the wall overhead was a painting of a bunch of Irish setters laying in the sun in a green valley. Sit down, Izzy said. Mr. Levski has agreed to meet with you. They waited for almost a full hour before the man who had come into the bakery several months earlier walked in through a back door. He wore a gray suit similar to the one he'd worn when he brought the apricot rugelach. Without saying a word, the man in the gray suit sat down. He glanced from Chana to Samuel. Then he said in a soft voice, New? So you wanted to meet me. Why? Sam cleared his throat and forced himself to speak. I need a job. I was hoping you could help me. I'll do anything. Anything at all. Aren't you the baker's son? Schatzman? Right? Levski said, studying Sam. Yes, you remember me. Of course. I make it my business never to forget a face. So why do you want to work for me? The bakery's closing. I'm desperate for a job. I'm not surprised. Lousy rugelach. Worst I ever had. Robbery, Levski said, sucking air through his teeth. But you came back more than once. Why would you do that if you didn't like it? Sam asked. Chana gave him a reproachful glance. But for a moment, Sam forgot who he was talking to. He forgot how important and dangerous this man could be. He was offended by what Levski said about the bakery. Chana shook her head at Sam. He could see the fear in her eyes, and he knew he'd overstepped his boundaries. He'd probably just lost any opportunity of working for Levski, and he might have even endangered himself. There was a long, pregnant moment of silence. Then Levski let out a belly laugh. I went to the bakery several times because I was observing you. I knew you were made to work for me. You have the hunger that I look for in a man. And here you are, asking me for a job. Just like I thought you would be. I didn't know how long it would take before you got tired of baking breads, but I'm glad to see you, Schatzman. Welcome. Sam cocked his head and looked at Chana, who shrugged her shoulders. Thank you, sir, Sam whispered, not sure of what else to say. So, you need a job, and you'll do anything. Is that what you're saying, Levski said? Yes, sir. Just then a handsome young man wearing a flashy suit entered the room. Hey, Screwy, haven't I told you to knock? Sorry, I didn't realize you had company. I just wanted to let you know that I got a craps game going upstairs. Good, Morty said. Then he turned to Sam. You play craps, he asked. No, Sam answered. Good for you. A man who doesn't drink and doesn't gamble has a better chance of survival, don't you think, Screwy? Sure, why not? Screwy said. And by the way, this is my partner, Screwy. We call him Screwy because he's a little nuts, but he's a good fella. Then he added, Screwy, this is Sam. A pleasure to meet you, Sam said. Screwy nodded. Then he winked at Chana. Anyway, I'm interviewing Sam here for a job. So get out of here, and I'll see you later. Screwy nodded. Then he took another long look at Chana and smiled before he left. Once Screwy was gone, Levski turned back to Sam and sighed. Sounds like you're desperate. You should never show another man when you're desperate. It's always a mistake. Life is a game, kid. And when you let a man know that you really need him, then he knows he can do whatever he wants with you. Do you understand me? This was not a game for Samuel. He was, in fact, desperate and wringing his hands. Within weeks, he and his father would be homeless. They had no money, and soon they would have no food. The girl he was in love with was miles away in Medina, but he could not go to her because he couldn't earn a living. His whole life depended on this man. No, this certainly was no game. I need this job. I need it. I'm not playing any game. I don't have the luxury of playing a game. Laevsky sat back in his chair and reached under his desk. He pulled out a bottle of brandy. Would you like a drink, he asked. No, thank you. I would, Kana said. She your girl? Laevsky asked, indicating Kana. No, but she's my good friend. She likes you a lot, I can tell. He poured the brandy into a glass for Kana. Then he poured one for himself. I'd grab her if I were you, Laevsky said. Then he drank the entire glass in one swig. Good, he asked Kana. Very, she said, still sipping the brandy. Then Laevsky turned back to Samuel. All right, down to business. You need a job. I can help. Can you drive? I can learn. Can you shoot a gun? I can learn. All right, well then, you have 2 days to become an expert at both. I'll have Izzy teach you everything you need to know, but you've got to be sharp or you won't get it. Now, if I were going to bet, I'd bet you'll come out just fine.
Hi, thank you again for joining me. I really hope you enjoyed all of these excerpts as much as I enjoyed bringing them to you. If you're interested in pre-ordering the book, just click the link below and it will direct you immediately to the sales page. Again, thank you so much for your loyal support of my work. I send all of you many, many, many warm blessings. Stay safe during these troubled times.